What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We are back once again, and you already know what it is when you see me on your TV, when you see me on your mobile screen, or your computer, wherever you watching me, man, via satellite, via XM, XRP, all that other stuff. And, you know, I threw a little crypto shot out there, XRP. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But one thing is for certain, and three things are for sure. Number one is that the Motor City Cats are back at it. Number two is that we came to give you stats and not static. And number three, and perhaps most important of all, we want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And speaking of news, we do have it today. We've got some news, and it came through because we've been waiting. I told y'all the plan about the OTAs. We're going to be making videos and everything, and just wasn't nothing getting out. They weren't letting anything out, but today we got some updates. We got some Dan Campbell at the podium. He is talking about my man, my boy, my friend, you know what I mean? Jameson Williams. We had Jameson Williams at the podium. Man, it was just an eventful day at Lions OTAs, and hopefully it was not just because it was Friday, because you know we got OTAs again next week, and if they wait till just Friday, it's gonna be hard to talk about. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. What up, though, Just a Fan? What up, though, Tactical Sport? What up, though, Will Murray? We see you in the chat, and whoever else will be coming through a little bit later. And I hope Big Wolf status comes through. I hope Mr. Detroit City comes through. I hope a plethora of JMO haters come through, because we have some things to talk about. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and look at the, what would you say? Some updates, some takeaways from Lions OTAs. All right, let me get into that right quick. Pull this up here. I got the JMO stuff up already because I'm just so excited. So excited! If y'all don't know where that's from, you need to know where it's from. But anyway, let's see here. All righty. 1 second. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So we've got some updates, and they come from observations coming from the Detroit Lions on SI by John McElroy. He's out there, you know he is. And I guess the media was allowed to watch things today because, like I said, I told y'all we was going to be making videos. And you can go and look at Lions Syndicate. He made a video about the first day of OTAs, and he was just doing a walkout. The walkout video of Aiden Hutchinson and everybody that walked out. It was like the red carpet because we didn't have any updates or information coming out. We just had the walkouts, right? We saw a few passes thrown. You know, we saw Jared Dimes. I guess we can call him that, right? We saw Jared Goff dropping dimes, you know, throwing a deep ball out there. So it is what it is. But now we actually have some things that we can touch upon. Okay, pause, and we can talk about. So the observations: Detroit Lions defense brings heat. Hutchinson review. Oh man, Aiden Hutchinson is back. He's bringing the heat, and all of those Twitter doctors. Okay, where's my camera? I'm getting my Michael Strahan on. I want you to look into a man's eyes. You know, I want to see you. Got to look into a man's eyes before you kill him. Okay, I don't have an apple, so I'm sorry. And I really don't have a big gap. I'm sorry. I can't do the whole thing. But the point is, all these Twitter doctors out there that were talking about, oh, he's got nerve damage. Oh, his one leg is smaller than the other. No, doom and gloom. Well, look, when you have your leg in a cast for however many months, when you have your leg in well, it wasn't really in a cast for too long because they did the you know, they put the adamantium in his leg, you know, around the bone, and healed that up pretty quickly. It was about him being able to bear weight on the leg, which you would normally do on a bone which isn't broken. Okay. So yes, his leg atrophied a bit, and he's gone through his rehab. That's finished. So now that he's done with the rehab, now you're in the strengthening stage. And today is May 30th. Okay, for me, let me see what today is. Okay, today for me, it is maybe 31st. Is it the 31st for me? If it's the 30th for y'all, it's the 31st. Yeah, it's the 31st for me. Okay. Celebrities. I had to pull up my my joint to see. And it says celebrities are reportedly hiring lawyers to avoid testifying at Diddy's trial. Okay. We ain't gonna get too much into that at all. You know, this is a family friendly show. Nothing about Diddy is family friendly. But the point was, we are May 31st or 30th for you guys. As I said, y'all live in the past, I live in the future. So we are May 30th. We play the Chicago Bears September 14th at home, week number 2. So that means that we play the Green Bay Packers September 7th. Okay? So let's say May is done. It's got one more day. June, July, August. 3 entire months and 1 week to get to football. 3 entire months and 1 week. Because you know, we got the Hall of Fame game coming up very shortly here. However, it is the preseason, and you didn't expect to see Aiden Hutchinson play in the preseason, did you? You didn't expect to see Jared Goff play in the preseason, did you? You didn't expect to see anybody who's starting for the Detroit Lions play in the preseason, did you? Because that's not what we do. Okay? So you weren't going to see Aiden Hutchinson out there anyway. Strengthening stage, he is in it. The leg will get back to what the other leg looks like. Trust us, they got the strength and training staff. They got it all on lock. It's fine. For those of you that are freaking out because, you know, one leg is you know, one thigh is 40 inches around and the other one is 38, he'll get there. Don't worry. It's fine. All right. Let's see what y'all got in the chat. Let me pop this chat out. Let me pop the chat out. They call him Caramello. All right. MCDP is future man. Exactly. Justifan says, "Who's J-Mo?" Don't do that. Don't do that, Justifan. We got the J-Mo coming up. All right. So, the third Detroit Lions organized team activities practice offered a first glimpse at the 2025 edition of Dan Campbell's team. Campbell spoke to the media prior to the session and explained that he expects the group to be battle-tested throughout the regular season on account of their rigorous schedule. Their slate includes 9 road games, including 7 outdoor games and 6 against teams that made the playoffs last season. Campbell expressed excitement at the difficulty of the campaign, and as a result, being efficient in OTAs will be important in order to prepare the team for this journey. Now, let me just take a little second to give a shout out to Dan Campbell. I don't know too many coaches that you would want to have coaching your team through a schedule like this. While it is grueling, I still said that there is a pathway where we could go 15-2 again. Okay. And the pathway would be, it's going to be a bunch of close games. You know, it's not going to be comfortable. You're going to have to eat games out at the end. You're going to have that grit. You're going to have that tenacity. You're going to have that stick-to-itiveness. You're going to have all of that. So because you have to have all of that, who better to be at the helm than Dan Campbell? I mean, really, a dude that's been in the trenches. Okay, everybody want to say, oh, he got it out the mud. Dan Campbell got it out the mud. Dan Campbell went 0-16. Dan Campbell got it out the mud. He went 0-16. Right? And he's, as a tight end, he wasn't Sam Laporta. Right? He was more of a blocker. Big mauler. Okay? But he parlayed that into an NFL career. You know, out of Texas A&M, goes into the NFL, plays for multiple teams, has a multiple year career. And yes, he was on the 0-16 team in Detroit, and he wanted this job. He wanted to be back here because he loves the city of Detroit. He loves the people of the city, and he knows 100% more than any of the other coaches that could have been out there that would have come in here that Detroit is about winning, and we deserve a winner from our football team. So shout out to Dan the Man Campbell, if you want to call him Dan Gamble, like Rob Parker did, and he did it in a negative connotation. That's fine, because I guess Josh Reynolds dropping 2 passes on 4th downs was Dan Campbell's fault. Okay, no problem. All right. So it says, we're excited. The message is the same as it's always been. There's no room for complacency. So we're not going to deal with entitlement, complacency. Our team's not, Campbell said. I love the schedule we have this year because this is the type of schedule that builds you for the postseason. I mean, I'm trying to run through a wall right now. Somebody show me a wall that I'm not going to have to pay for. You know what I'm saying? Because if I run through a wall in my house, it's going to be a problem. Like, man, you better be on it, and we're going to get tested early and often and all year long, and it's freaking awesome. It's really how you want it, so we'll be ready to go when the time's right. Dan Campbell, let me tell you something about Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell don't like nothing easy, right? Dan Campbell has daughters. You know what he probably didn't get them as kids growing up? Easy Bake Ovens, because it's got the name Easy in it. Shout out my boy Easy. I'm pretty sure Dan Campbell likes him, right? But Easy Bake Oven probably didn't allow it in his house. You know, he was probably like, you gonna have to freaking stir that damn flour and turn it into dough. And, you know, he probably didn't have that going on in his house. All right. So he doesn't want anything easy, man, because when you have things easy, you get complacent. You don't have to work. You don't have to grind. You don't have to have that grit. You don't have to have it because everything comes easy to you. So when it comes easy to you and you get it, you won't appreciate it. You won't understand it. That's how you get into the playoffs and lose. And I'm not talking about the last time that we lost last season, because there was some things that went on in that game. But I'm talking about you get into the playoffs and you haven't been showing up all year because all you had to do was roll out of bed and go and put 50 on everybody because you had a weak schedule. Okay. And then you roll out of the bed in the playoffs and you get pasted because you were not battle tested and you were not ready for what was going to be the task at hand. So because of this, Dan Campbell is like, I love this schedule. I love it because it is going to test us. It is going to bring the best out of us. It is going to throw adversity in our faces, and we just going to have to deal with it. Right? It is going to be grueling. It is going to be rigorous, and we're going to have to bring our A game every single day. Every time we step on the field, we have to bring our A game. That's it. Right? Last year we played the Texans. We brought our D game. Okay? We brought our D game and still somehow managed to win. Now, here's the problem with that. We brought our D game. We somehow managed to win. In the fans' perspective, or from the fans' perspective, many of the fans, okay, not the most rational of the fans, but many of the fans felt that we should have been able to play our D game against the Commanders and still win. Okay, because the defense should have stepped up and yada 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 like they did in the Texans game. Well, listen, and here's the thing that you all have to understand. For those of you that understand it, great. For those of you that don't understand it, it's going to be rough for you. The regular season and the postseason are different seasons. The regular season and the postseason are different seasons. One of my favorite sayings is, yesterday's price is not today's price. Okay? Yesterday's price is not today's price. So when you get to the postseason, yesterday was the regular season. That price is different than today's price, which is the postseason. When you step into the postseason, it's a different animal. Prices are higher. The price of the brick done went up. Okay, yesterday's price is not today's price. The things that you could do in the regular season, the things that you could get away with in the regular season, you're not going to find those things, right? You're not going to find those things in the postseason. When you go into the regular season store, you find discounts, you find clearance items, you find sales, you find deals. You're not finding none of that in the postseason store. The postseason store is luxurious. It's Park Avenue, right? It's Saks Fifth Avenue. It's Gucci. It's Prada. It's all of those things. The regular season store is Kroger. You know what I mean? The regular season store is Walmart. That's not the postseason store. So you've got to bring your A game every single time when you come to the postseason. So you might as well get comfortable bringing your A game. If y'all were watching the Bills game with me, what did I say? I said that the Lions were not able to match the intensity of the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills came out and punched us in the mouth because they wanted everybody to know on national television that the Lions did not belong there, and they didn't belong. They didn't deserve the hype that they were getting, and they really got up for that game, which is why they sold the game the week before against the Los Angeles Rams. So now you're gonna see this. You're gonna get everyone's best shot because you went 15-2. Okay, even games where you feel like you might be able to take a break, you might be able to bring your B game or your A- game. Nah, because again, you did go 15-2. Okay, and the Detroit Lions are in a situation. They are in a state where we are looking at people, look at us, upset and angry because they can't kick us around anymore. There used to be that one fan base and that one team where you could just be like, easy dub, pencil it in when you see them on the schedule. Okay? Now people are penciling in as an L. And fan bases don't like that. Other teams don't like that. Other teams, they're gonna respect their opponents to a certain degree. Okay? But it's gonna be a little bit of, until some, it's gonna take years. It's going to take years. It's going to take a Super Bowl win. It's going to take multiple deep playoff runs for people, organizations, fans to be like, this ain't your granddaddy's Lions. Shout out if you know, you know. I did a video back in the day when we was 9-8 and we was trying to go to the playoffs. I did a little Lions hype video. Oh boy. And I said, this ain't your granddaddy's Lions. Oh, it was hype. I might link it. What up though, Spirit of Detroit? What up though, Tailor Made Media? What up though, K Ain't Pressed? So here go. Let's see what Tailor Made was told. All right. He said, I was told that the schedule worried some folks. If it's them same folks, I can understand. They a bit scary. They're a bit scary. Eagles, Ravens, and one of those folks is K Ain't Pressed. Eagles, Ravens, and Washington is who we better be worried about we better be worried about the Ravens and the Eagles. I don't know why we keep wanting to be worried about the Commanders. For what? For what? What did the Commanders do to beat us? What did the Commanders do to beat us? I think us beat us in that game. I was also told that my man AG threw 3 interceptions versus the Commandos, not Jared Goff. I don't think anybody told you that. They may have tried to couch it that way, but they didn't tell you that. Cattleman's Lions fan base still has lots of SOL fans, and only a SB win has a chance of changing them into just fans. Facts. They beat you down 93 yards on Terrion. All right, what about 4 turnovers? Was it 4 or 5? It was 5 turnovers, right? 5 turnovers. I'm just saying. 5 turnovers. It's hard to overcome 5 turnovers when you don't get a turnover. I'm just saying. Jaden Daniels may have destroyed the secondary, but 5 turnovers didn't give us an opportunity, right? So what I'm saying is this, and this is my point every time I talk about this game. 14-3 is the score that was about to be on the board. It was about to be on the scoreboard when we committed our first turnover. At 14-3, that game was over. Spirit of Detroit, I always hold Jared Goff accountable. I just don't like to deal with the people that call me casual and I've been called Goff phobic. I've been called a Goff hater. I've been called all of these things. And sometimes I just don't want to deal with it, because it doesn't make any sense. I'm the one, I think I have one of the most objective views on Jared Goff that's been out. When Jared Goff first got here, I was like, this dude is trash. Get him out of here. He can be my starting bench quarterback. He was garbage. And then through the maturation and the evolution of Jared Goff and the growth, I believe he's a quarterback we can win with. Okay, but people like to push back whenever you say so, and I don't want to get into the arguments. Sometimes I just want to do my pod. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I just want to do the pod, and I don't want to have to argue with their nonsense. But I hold Jared Goff accountable. I've been saying this. Okay? 4 turnovers from that quarterback does not help you win. And that was my point. That was my point. He was one that's thug from around the way. What up, Dosanowski? Says, what's good, Chef? Are you still a believer in Goff? I believe in him, yes. But I also am able to say, played a bad game. Very bad game. Worst game of the season, worst game of the postseason, and that was the only game. Okay? We only got one crack at it. So, yes, I do not, I'm a holder accountable of everybody. I even hold JMO accountable when it's necessary. Right? I will tell you that the suspensions hurt the team. I will tell you the suspensions hurt his growth. But I'm not going to tell you he's a thug or he's a bad kid or any of these things, right? And we're going to talk about JMO a little bit in a bit as well. So what also do we have? So it says here's a collection of observations from the Lions practice on Friday. Ratledge takes first team reps at center. Uh-oh. It's happening. Okay, Tate Ratledge, they were cross-training him at center in the rookie minicamp. Now you're going to see it later. Georgia State Ratledge, who remains the Lions' only unsigned draft pick, stepped into a big role for the offensive line with Frank Ragnow not participating. After playing mostly guard in college, Ratledge continues to develop at the center position and was the first team offensive line to start practice. I think they like him. Okay? I think they like him. What up, though, Lions Fanimal? Okay, I think they like Tate Ratledge there. I think they like him to replace Graham Glasgow because you would figure it would be Graham Glasgow because he's your backup center. Tate Ratledge is saying not so fast, my friend. Ratledge helmed the center spot with Christian Mahogany on his left and Graham Glasgow to his right at the guard positions. Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell took their trademark spots at the left and right tackle positions, respectively. Ratledge and Glasgow would rotate at center, with the other playing right guard. At points, he also was the center for the second unit. The group featured Gio Manu and Dan Skipper at left and right tackle, and Nitain Muti and Coyote Awasaka at left and right guard. Colby Sorsdahl and Kingsley Aguaku also spent some time at center. Colby Sorsdahl is like one of those bane of my existence players. I don't deal with Colby Sorsdahl. Whoa, still unsigned. Where's the outrage? Well, there's no outrage because he's at camp. He just hasn't signed his rookie deal. I think that's for him. You know, he's taking a risk by playing while not signing. But there's no outrage because he's not holding out. If he was holding out, there would be outrage. Like with Shamar Stewart holding out. But that's the Bengals. You hold out with the Bengals until they give you your money. First look at Hutchinson. Too bad they can't teach him to rush the passer. Who, Tate Ratledge? Yeah, they can't do that. They can't do that. First look at Hutchinson. Friday marked the first opportunity for the media to watch Aiden Hutchinson in action since his injury in week 6 of last season. The Michigan product appeared to be comfortable moving around after being fully cleared and looks ready to hit the ground running in training camp. I tried to tell the Twitter doctors. I tried to tell them. Sporting a sleeve on his injured leg, Hutchinson was limited in the nature of what he could do based on the non-contact nature of practice. Okay, let me read that sentence again for anybody that believes that he was limited. Sporting a sleeve on his leg, Hutchinson was limited in the nature of what he could do based on the non-contact nature of practice. That means he ain't hitting because they can't hit. Not that he can't be involved in hitting. They can't hit because it ain't no hitting going on in practice. That's what that means. Still, he appeared to be in good shape as he continues to regain his groove after being sidelined for a lengthy amount of time. Campbell explained that Hutchinson has been solid throughout the 3 days of OTAs, noting that he appears comfortable in bending around the edge and showcasing his athleticism. Hutch looks, OTAs look good. That's a Dan Campbell thing. That was a direct quote. Hutch looks, OTAs looks good. Okay, I promise you that's what it says. Hutch looks, comma, OTAs, comma, looks good. Okay. Campbell said he's moving well. You don't see him favoring anything. He's bending. He's grabbing the grass. He looks confident. And there again, that's without pads. So there's nothing that tells me that, man, the guy's not recovered or not going to be recovered. This is Dan Campbell. Remember, Dan Campbell is notorious for holding a player out to make sure that he is 100% healthy. Y'all know this, okay? They did it with J-Mo. They did it with Hendon Hooker. They do it. If you are injured on the Detroit Lions, you are not getting rushed back. Okay? He just said, there's nothing that tells me that, man, that guy's not recovered or not gonna be recovered. Week 1 Hutch loading. Okay, why? Because Hutch looks, comma, OTAs, comma, looks good. Taylor Made Media is not coach speak, not Dan Campbell, about an injured player. It's not. It's not. That's what I was saying. Sorsdahl. Yeah, no. You can teach him to go find another team. That's what you can teach him to do. He can't hold out for money because he's a second round pick. his range of motion may be limited. That's not what they're saying. That's what they just said. He's doing everything, right? And Coach Shep said earlier in the offseason that this is how he knows Hutchinson is back, when he bends that corner around that hoop, right? And he hits that grass. So he already said that. Hutch will be back 100% at the start of the year. He'll maybe be 120%. Facts. To be honest, I'm always worried when coaches keep telling me how ready someone is. Well, Dan Campbell, when he tells you somebody's ready, he's not mincing words. I'm not reading that one, TaylorMade, because that one is that. There's too much that could be misconstrued on that one. No, because he's a rookie. The rookie pay scale is the rookie pay scale. He can hold out for incentives. No, I just said holding out. So like Shamar Stewart, what Shamar Stewart is holding out for is the language. I'm not reading it, Taylor. I'm not doing that one. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Shamar Stewart is holding out because of language. He wants that language changed. As you said, incentives to make sure he gets, I think it's some workout bonuses or something like that. So that's why I was saying, if Tate Ratledge was holding out because of contract stuff and he was actually holding out and not playing, then there would be outrage. That was my point. So when I said get your money, that's what I meant from when I was talking about the Bengals, because they're cheap and they'll try to do things that, so this language obviously is kind of negating something within his contract, and he wants his full contract ability to get all that money. That's what I meant. I didn't mean hold out to get more money. No, hold out to get the money that's in your contract. In the case of Shamar Stewart, that's what he's doing. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Jamison Williams looks stronger. Oh, my goodness. Campbell became the latest coach to praise the strides that Jamison Williams has made going into his fourth NFL season after surpassing 1,000 receiving yards for the first time in his career in 2024. Expectations are once again rising for the impact he could have on the offense. What's good, Jared Colucci? The wideout has added muscle and appears stronger, which should help him handle physicality from defensive backs, whether it's against press coverage or with the ball in the air downfield. Williams' frame appears ready to help elevate him to an even bigger threat for the offense. Campbell explained Friday that he expects Williams to have a big season as he has continued to improve even on the heels of a breakout season in 2024. I'm going to okay, I'm not gonna right now, okay, because we're gonna get to what Dan Campbell said about JMO, okay, and we're gonna get to it, and we're gonna break it apart. We're gonna take it piece by piece. We're gonna do that. So right now, I'm just gonna move on to the next thing, okay. Jamison Williams looks stronger, solid, okay. JMO be go for this coming year. 2K income. I don't know about 2K. That's a little bit ambitious. I am the official keeper of the JMO, but 2K is a bit ambitious. Unless we're talking about some rushing in there, and he breaks off a lot of 80-yard reverses and jet sweeps and stuff. Then I could get with that. Secondary updates. With Brian Branch among the players listed by Campbell to be inactive or limited, Avonte Maddox stepped into a starting role next to Kirby Joseph at the safety position. Terrion Arnold was also kept out of practice Friday, which allowed Ennis Rakestraw to get first-team reps on the outside opposite of DJ Reed. Amik Robertson, who played much of the season as a team slot cornerback, was once again back in that role on Friday. Amik back. Okay, Amik back, right? Amik back. What does that mean? It means Amik back. Okay, all right. No more broken arm. fully healed, recovered. If they unleash him, Lions will run lots more, so I would not be surprised with fewer passing yards all around. But you got to remember, the big plays are coming. The explosives are coming. And we'll get into what Dan Campbell had to say. I think what he says is gonna kind of broaden your horizons and open your mind about what J-Mo's about to do next season. Or I should say this season, because we're on the cusp. So year 3 begins for Hendon Hooker. Hooker took the field with the second team offense for Friday's practice after Goff completed passes to passes. It says passes to passes. Come on, y'all guys to get. I'm telling you, put it into AI. Just put it into Chat GPT. Put it into Gemini. Gemini is my guy, right? Put it into Gemini and let them proofread your articles. That's all I'm saying. All right. So completed passes to Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond, and his first series of reps, Hooker and the second team. In his first series of reps, Hooker and the second team offense got into action. The Tennessee product is looking to once again earn the backup job behind Goff and will be competing with Kyle Allen in his first round of snaps. Hooker hit undrafted rookie running back Anthony Tyus III over the middle and then threw incomplete on a deep pass intended for Kai Robichaud. That's not a name that we're going to have to get used to, folks. I don't know who this man is. I've never seen him. I don't know what his jersey number is. I don't know anything about him. So Kai Robichaud, thank you for coming to camp. All right. Allen's first set of reps started with what would have been a sack by safety Eric Hallett, who blitzed and brought heat on the veteran. After a run by Tyus, Allen hit Dominic Lovett, gotta love it, and then was once again sacked. Okay, so looks like Allen got some processing issues. Okay, you getting sacked in OTAs, but not real sacks, right? It's what would have been sacked. Goff's second series began with a run by Craig Reynolds, then an incomplete in the direction of Sam Laporta. He finished the series with a completion to Patrick over the middle and then to Tom Kennedy. Good old Tom Kennedy. Although Chris Smith brought pressure and may have had a sack. Hooker began his second go-around with a deep, wobbly incompletion intended for Jackson Meeks. He bounced back to finish the set with completions to Shane Zylstra over the middle and Tyus to the right. See, now Hooker's messing up Jackson's ability to make the practice squad, man. You got to make Jackson look good so he can make the practice squad so Big Z, Big Unc, will come back and sign with the Detroit Lions. What are you doing, Hendon, he didn't understand the assignment. Goodness gracious. Here we go. Allen's second set of reps was a struggle. He threw incomplete, intended for Kenny James and Raymond. I guess he's got a problem with short, speedy guys. Then had a pass dropped by Robichaud. Kai Robichaud, thank you for coming to camp. He would have been sacked on his final snap by rookie Ahmed Hassanin. Go ahead and overreact in the chat. Who looked energetic throughout the day and had a nice push on this rep. See what y'all got to say about that. It means trouble. Just read it. No, it doesn't mean trouble at all. What were you reading? We're gonna get to it. I mean, if you mean trouble for opposing defenses, yes. Not trouble for the Lions. Got to go get the pass rush going through the schedule. TaylorMade says with Hendon Hooker, you can roll him left or right. Can't do any of that with Jared Goff taking the snaps. So Hendon Hooker has problems completing passes right now. He needs to focus on that. Tom Kennedy. We really need to just start calling him future Hall of Famer Hassan. Great overreaction, Detroit fan, man. I was told that Hassanin is Hall of Fame bound. I keep See, yeah, and then Detroit fan base says, "See, I know." All right, Rickstraw stands out in 7-on-7 following a quick 3rd-and-20 drill in which the first team offense was forced to punt. The Lions squared off in a series of 7-on-7 reps, pitting the starters against each other on both sides. Goff threw incompletions on each of his first 2 passes, with Kirby Joseph breaking up the first one intended for Raymond and Morris Norris breaking up the second. He rebounded with back-to-back completions to Tom Kennedy, then was nearly picked off by Rickstraw. It was the first of 2 consecutive solid reps for Rickstraw, who followed up the near interception with good coverage to force an incompletion between Goff and Raymond. Goff was able to respond with 2 straight completions over the middle to Raymond, then another to Williams. He finished the session with darts to Reynolds and Laporta, sandwiched around an incompletion. All right. Ennis Rakestraw looking good is a positive for the Detroit Lions. We didn't know what the kid was going to look like in the NFL. Obviously, this is just OTAs, okay? This is just OTAs. There are no pads on. There is no hitting. There is no opposing team. You are at practice. We're talking about practice, okay? But him moving around, breaking on balls, having good coverage is good for us to see because of him not really being on the field at all last season due to injury. So if we have a solid backup, got a guy that can get in certain packages, big nickel, big dime, whatever the case may be, it's good to see. He can roll anywhere, but he can't read the defenses or pass on target so far. Problem is no boots on the ground. All right, quick hitters. Jack Campbell revealed that he had a minor procedure on his hip at the conclusion of the season. Number 2, linebacker Grant Stewart asserted his physicality during an early team period. He wouldn't let up throughout the session and at one point had to be held back by Goff. All right. We know he said he's a crash out. Okay. He said he would describe his style of play as crash out. So, 3, Goff had a nice downfield pass to undrafted free agent wide receiver Jacoby Keeney James during a rep in which there were no deep defenders. Okay, nobody was defending. It was just a nice throw. Number 4, the defensive line was a force against the third team offensive line. You might as well left this one out. The third team offensive line, which featured Mason Miller and Jamarco Jones at tackle. Who he play for? Michael Neese and Colby Sorsdahl at guard. Oh, Lord. And Kingsley Agukun at center. Allen faced plenty of pressure throughout his snaps. Okay? So when we saw future Hall of Famer Ahmed Hassanin get what would have been a sack, this is the line that he was going against. I'm just saying. All right. Number 5, the coaching staff was active and into the competition throughout the day as they all brought energy and excitement to the practice session. 6, Campbell said 2 players were not at the facility for the duration of the first series of OTAs, and it appears that they were Alex Anzalone and Frank Ragnow. Neither player was at the facility Friday, nor were they on the list of the 21 players that the head coach would either be out or limited. 7, among other players not in attendance Friday were Terrion Arnold, Derek Barnes, Brian Branch, Khalil Dorsey, Miles Frazier, Gavin Holmes, Broderick Martin, Aleem McNeil. Where you at, Tactical? Broderick Martin wasn't in attendance. Aleem McNeil, David Montgomery, Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pascal, Malcolm Rodriguez, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sione Vaki, and Makai Wingo. Number 8, and the last one, while Frazier was out, 2 other Lions rookies were limited. First-round pick Tyleik Williams participated in early walkthroughs but did not do any team drills, while third-round wide receiver Isaac Tesla was working with a trainer for most of practice. Shout out my guy Easy, okay? because Easy and me are very similar in our views on the team. I mean, we do disagree on certain things, but this rookie stuff, like, so his excitement about Ahmed Hassanin, I don't agree with anybody's expectations. Okay, on Ahmed Hassanin, he was a 6th round rookie. Okay, but the Tesla thing, he was like, y'all better pump the brakes and, ease back, curb your enthusiasm, because people were looking, they were like, where's Tesla? When we saw the videos and stuff like that. Just this roster that the Detroit Lions have is not a roster in which we need a 3rd round rookie wide receiver to be some sort of sideshow star. Like, we don't need, like, everybody wants him to be Puka Nacua, and I get it, I understand it, but some of y'all are going to be disappointed if he's not. And that's wild to me. I understand exactly why. Because this 3rd round rookie comes with a price tag that's hefty. Okay? And I don't mean his contract. I mean what we had to give up to get him. And Brad Holmes has done this before. He's moved up aggressively to grab a developmental player. Now, is Isaac Tesla as far back as Broderick Martin or Giovanni Manu? No, he's not. Okay. But again, he had limited reps, limited targets in college because the offense he was playing in wasn't great. In high school, he was a wing T quarterback. Like, just let him get in. Just pump the brakes, man. Hold up. Just hold up. Wait. You know what I mean? All right. Tom Kennedy is going to make this team one day. He makes the team every year. Like, he's in the practice squad. Didn't he get called up? Didn't he do some active games this year? At least one. I thought he played in one. TaylorMade says, if I had a perennial invite to Lions camp for years like Tom Kennedy, I'd be a millionaire. Project Pat is as good as gone. Are the Lions still cursed? No, I don't think so. You think Tim Patrick is going to let Tesla take his spot? I don't, even though TP is 44 years old. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Tim Patrick is not allowing him to take anything. And that's the other thing. With Tesla being the favorite receiver in the draft of Brad Holmes, I mean, I could see a package here and there, but there's no expectations. Okay. There are expectations, however, for another wide receiver. Yeah, let's get it. J-Mo time, baby. So we've got another article. This is from Sideline Report, Brad Berriman. It says it's only 8 OTAs, but Dan Campbell just launched the Jameson Williams hype train. Dan Campbell launched the train. Dan Campbell is the conductor. Let this sink in. And we are going to read what he has to say. But let this sink in. Big Will status, where you at? Mr. Detroit City, where you at? I need y'all, because I'm talking J-Mo, and I need y'all to pop in the chat. Okay? You know how you say, speak of the devil and he shall appear, right? When I start talking about J-Mo and I'm saying good things, because I'm always saying good things about J-Mo, you see Big Wolf status, you see Mr. Detroit City, and others who have this hate for Jameson Williams. Dan Campbell is the conductor of Jameson Williams hype train. Okay? We all know what a conductor is. We all know what they do. He's the conductor. Let's get into it. Okay. Says almost exactly a year ago this time, Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell called wide receiver Jameson Williams the team's most improved player in the spring. He then got into some direct detail. Again, remember this. He called him his most improved player. He said he was a man on a mission and he would just leave it at that. Stop trolling, Justin fan. You know who J-Mo is. You know good goddamn well who J-Mo is. All right. He said that he was a man on a mission and he would leave it at that. And wouldn't you know it, this man cranked off 1,000 yards. You know, he said, you crank that 1,000 yards. You know. If you know, you know. Use the hashtag. All right. So we got some precedent. He did this last year. Okay. All right. He's a man on a mission. I'm just going to leave it at that, Dan Campbell said, followed by saying everywhere when asked where Williams had improved. Okay. This was last year. Williams seemed to realize his third NFL season as a critical one for him. He carried that OTA momentum into a breakthrough campaign, topping 1,000 yards for the first time in his career, as he became a more complete receiver and showed better maturity overall. Still, there were some hiccups he needs to eliminate as he looks to prove himself. Come on, y'all. Just again, Chat GPT, man. Just proofread your stuff. As he looks to prove himself worthy of a big second contract. The question, until further notice, is if that second contract comes from the Lions. Dan Campbell has again launched the Jameson Williams hype train. Campbell had his session with reporters on Friday from Lions OTAs. He was eventually asked what the next step looks like for Williams, and it was not a short answer. Okay? It was not a short answer. What up, though, Jay Cruising? Oh, man. He said wifey went on vacation, so he's back. He's allowed in the chat now. Oh, my. Oh, my. He's got a ton of growth left. He's had a good spring, Campbell said. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves in OTAs, but there's so much versatility with him, with his speed, and he's gotten so much stronger. His ability to stop and put his foot in the ground. When you can run like that, he can run. When you can run like he can run, and now you're getting to where you can stop on a dime, you talk about a hard cover. You talk about a hard cover, ma'am. So the sky's the limit for him, Campbell continued. He's exactly where we want him to be right now at this point. We expect him to have a huge season. We really do. Man, he's going to be one of those guys that we're going to lean on this year and is really going to be big for us. We're going to lean back on Jameson Williams. Okay? We're going to lean on Jameson Williams. This is what Dan Campbell said. What kind of players, anybody in the chat, can y'all tell me? Anybody want to tell me in the chat, what kind of players do you lean on? I just want to know. I just want to know. Because there were people that said that Jameson Williams would never be that type of player. He would never be the type of player that you lean on. What type of player do you lean on? Detroit Fan Man says dogs. Exactly. And the dogs on your team are generally leaders, starters, stars. Okay? Jameson Williams has all the star power in the world. Jameson Williams, again, had the fewest targets and completions of any wide receiver last year with 1,000 yards or more. You lean on reliable players, not Davenport. Exactly. Okay. Ain't nobody ever said we're going to lean on Marcus Davenport. Okay. Chip Bradshaw says solid. What up, though, Chip Bradshaw? St. Brown is a dog for sure. Okay. So, now it says read more. I don't know. Should I read this one afterwards? Y'all tell me in the chat if I should. It says read more. Dan Campbell just gave the worst excuse for the Lions not adding a pass rusher. Let me know if y'all want me to come back to that one. I probably will. Okay. But we're going to continue this one. It says, in light of Campbell's comment about Williams having gotten so much stronger, some photos from the OTAs do seem to show noticeably more muscle on him. His speed is already unrivaled, but if he is now going to be stronger at the catch point through contact, etc., during his entire press conference on Friday, Campbell was rightfully careful not to overrate anything that's going on during OTA practices with no contact allowed. But he generally has trouble holding back when he has something to say on a topic, and with that, it's no surprise he could not hide his praise of the work Williams is doing. How about them Cowboys? It's my turn, Shannon Sharp. I've been telling y'all about J-Mo. And I, to y'all credit, the people that are in this chat right now, I believe y'all agree with me 100%. I know y'all know I am the official keeper of the J-Mo. I know this excites me, man. I told you I was going to do this, but now I'm exploding. I'm excited, man. I said in my live on Monday when I was on LNU, shout out LNU, shout out Herm, shout out everybody over there. I said that there is a pathway to Jameson Williams 1,500 yards. Now I'm talking about all purpose. I'm not just talking about receiving. I'm talking about receiving and rushing. I said there's a pathway for him to have 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns overall. Okay. Jessa fan is not a J-Mo fan, but I'm a Jessa fan. So I rock with you, Jessa fan. I'm not gonna kick you out. Jessa fan has been with me for a long time, but you're wrong about J-Mo. Okay, you're wrong about J-Mo. Jared says, did I see the QB rankings? You talking about PFF? I saw those. Oh, Jessica fan says, I am a J-Mo fan. Okay, I mean, you've been trolling today. You've been trolling, so I just had to make sure. I had to make sure you're on board. Cruising. Say cruising, bro. Listen, I've been talking about this, and we're not diminishing anyone else. We're not diminishing Amon-Ra St. Brown. We're not saying Amon-Ra St. Brown is not going to get his traditional production. We saw J-Mo take a step. He did miss 2 games last season. I don't foresee, I'm not a future fortune teller. I can't see into the future. I don't foresee anything happening where he misses games this season. Okay, and we're not talking about, we're talking about off the field stuff. Okay, hopefully he stays healthy 100% throughout the season. Okay, like he was able to do last season and the season before that. Okay, but there's a pathway. You've got Johnny Morton, who is a former wide receiver who ran a 4.340. Okay, at the combine. You've got Johnny Morton, who is a former wide receiver who has come in here and told you he wants deep shots. He wants big explosive plays. Now, a Jameson Williams explosive happens from the goal line to goal line. Okay, well, I can't say goal line to goal line because once you get into the red zone, I mean, is there any play? Is it really explosive? 20 yards in? You know what I mean? So I will say that a Jameson Williams explosive is from the goal line to the 20 on the opposite side of the field. Okay? He's got 80 yards of explosive plays in him. Anytime you give him the ball, it can be explosive. Okay? Now, what I mean by 80 yards of explosive plays, I mean he has 100 yards of explosive plays. But if you start from inside of the red zone, you're not going to get really explosive play. You get a big play because it's a touchdown. But that's what I mean. He doesn't have to have the touches that everyone else has to have to make an impact. Now, shout out Spinney, because Spinney said he was going to have 85 catches on the year. And when you break that down, on average, that's 5 catches per game. I think there will be, on average, somewhere around there. I believe that there will be some games where he has 5 catches and some games where he has 2, and some games where he has 7, some games where he has 9, some games where he has 1, not because he's not part of the game plan, but because he's dealing with double coverage. He's dealing with bracket coverage for the entire game. But the thing that's unique about Jameson Williams' situation is that he's not going to face that for an entire game too often, because if you do that to him, you're leaving everyone else open. And we have so many weapons from the receiving core. We have so many weapons on our offense in general that you can't just be trying to take J-Mo out the game. Well, we don't want big plays from J-Mo. Well, get Jahmyr Gibbs out there in space. He's a big play waiting to happen too. Like we talked about this on Monday, right? We talked about a dynamic duo of Gibbs and J-Mo. Who else has a duo like that? That anywhere from the football field, they can score from any location. They can take the top off of the freaking roof of the stadium, whatever stadium it is. Even if it's an outdoor stadium that doesn't have a roof, they can blow the roof off. Okay. And we really couldn't find anybody else. We found Miami off of sheer speed alone with A-Chain and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They've got a track team over there. So they've got 3. So they've got a dynamic trio. We've got a dynamic duo. And I think we're the only 2 teams in the league that can boast that type of speed and that type of explosiveness from a couple of players. Okay, it's a lot of times you'll find a team that has one of those players. We got 2. So you can't just be like, well, we'll take J-Mo away, because you take J-Mo away, you got Gibbs. And we're talking about as far as explosives, right? You take J-Mo away, as far as any type of play, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got Sam Laporta, you got Jahmyr Gibbs, you got David Montgomery, okay? You got Tim Patrick. If we're talking about just the passing game, if you want to double up, you want to bracket cover Jameson Williams, you got a safety assigned to him over the top. Okay? Now the middle of your field is a little bit more open because you've got a man who's being double covered. Okay? And if we go 5 wide and you've got a man that's being double covered in the secondary, how many people do you have in the secondary? Okay? If you're gonna play the dime and you're gonna have 6 defensive backs out there, that's one thing. But that's not a sustainable strategy. Trip Bradshaw says, so many weapons, man. It's fun to be a Lions fan. Indeed it is. For the first time, well, not the first time in history, for one of the few times in history. There's been about 3 times in history where you could say it was fun to be a Lions fan. Well, for those of us who, you got to be 80, 90 years old to have said the other one, right? But in the contemporary times, it's been when Barry Sanders was playing. Sorry, you had Barry Sanders, Herman Moore, Johnny Morton, okay? And then it was when Calvin Johnson was playing. And now it's these guys. With Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Sam Laporta, so on and so forth. Hopefully it leads to a Super Bowl. Damn right, that's the hope. Lions coaching staff is the main weapon. Well, let's hope, okay? Because, yes, we do have Dan Campbell, and I sang his praises earlier in the pod. But we still do have to see. Now, we have high hopes and we have belief in Kelvin Shepherd and Johnny Morton. But we do have to see them. Now, the good thing about Johnny Morton is this isn't his first time being an offensive coordinator. Okay? It's not his first time being an offensive coordinator. And then if you look at his track record, being an offensive coordinator with the Jets, Bilal Powell, Josh McCown, and Robbie Chosen Anderson had their best statistical seasons under him. Terrible team, right? Terrible assortment of talent, but he got the best out of that assortment of talent. So now he's got a generational assortment of talent, which is, I believe, what we have, a generational assortment of talent. Okay? And he's going to be at the helm of that. So I'm excited. You know, I believe that the sky is the limit. Taylor May says you get him 85 balls at 17 yards per, and you got your number. And that's just receiving yards, right? So, I mean, he is averaging around there, right? 17, 18 yards per. Justin Fan says, just don't have J-Mo make another pass unless it's the pass guys. I would say facts on that one. Big facts. Chip Bradshaw says, a healthy J-Mo completely changes the dynamic on the field. Indeed, it does. Jay Cruisin says, one time I went 10 days without sleep. Don't do that, guys. Don't go there. So Taylor May says, I saw Lynn Barney suit up in number 20 and I saw Billy Sims sport the same number. You go back, Taylor May. You go way back. Back in time. Brad Holmes is making the right moves, but no pass rusher. Bro, we should have made the Super Bowl 2 years ago in that championship game. We should have. All right. So speaking of the pass rusher, do y'all want me to read this one about Dan Campbell's excuse for not getting the pass rusher? Okay, this was 6 hours ago. So it says Dan Campbell just gave the worst excuse for the Lions not getting a pass rusher. Here we go. To make you sure. Okay. One of the biggest concerns among Detroit Lions fans and NFL national media is what the team will do at edge rusher after Aiden Hutchinson, after Aiden Hutchinson. After cutting Zadarius Smith this offseason, the Lions are back to square one, looking for a second edge rusher, and fans are not happy. Campbell and Lions GM Brad Holmes are consistently asked this question at every single press conference, but this time wielded a very interesting angle from the Lions head coach. As for the pass rush, I'm glad you brought that up. Offensively, we had this big cross. We had these two spots, said the Lions head coach, and it takes time offensively to do that. And we did, because we had to do a walkthrough with the front, the O-line and the D-line. So it's hard to tell. We can't go hard enough to decide how good the rush is or how do we really prep it and get it better. We're not allowed to do that, but I am confident, said Campbell. That was a bad answer. So you're saying, well, we don't know what we have until training camp when we can go hard. Okay. I mean, if Big Z is still there, then you got your answer. So it's fine. Dan Campbell creates more frustration with answers about Lions pass rush problem. Here, Campbell is referencing a play during OTAs where Sam Laporta caught a 34-yard pass on a dual post concept which, as Campbell noted, is a play that takes elite protection. This play was able to succeed because the linemen can't go at full strength in OTAs, making it hard to evaluate. Unfortunately, Campbell is right here. Whether the Lions traded for an all-pro defensive end or not, you can't tell the strength of your linemen in walkthrough scenarios. But this answer isn't going to satisfy Lions fans one bit. Many Lions fans find it unbelievable that Brad Holmes chose to ignore the edge rusher position until the 7th round of the NFL draft and didn't sign a single impactful free agent to play that position. Ahmed Hassani was drafted in the 6th round, right? Because this is the second article that I've seen that has said 7th round. He was drafted in the 6th round. Yes, for sure. Because we had 2 7th round picks, and they were so I want to call this dude Dan Miller. I want to call him Dan Miller. The safety that we drafted out of Georgia. And then Dominic Lovett. Gotta love it. And y'all should know, y'all Lions fans, y'all should know who Dan Miller is. Future Hall of Famer, 6th round pick, right. Campbell claims he is confident in his defensive line, which is good, but there is no world where he doesn't say that. Luckily, we are yet to hit the month of June, and there is plenty of time for Campbell and his staff to evaluate the defensive line and decide what the next step is. Yeah, that was a terrible answer, Dan. I'm sorry. When you want to talk about coach speak, okay? Dan Campbell talking about the defensive line is coach speak. Saying that you're confident in, okay, so it's not coach speak all the way, okay? And I'll tell you why. Some of it is coach speak. If he says that he's confident in the pass rush, then he can't be telling the truth. If he's confident in the defensive line overall, okay, and this is where we can talk about they gave up the 5th fewest rushing yards in the league last year, even with all the injuries, yada 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 yada. That's fine. But if you then talk about the pass rush, no sir, there is no confidence in the pass rush. All right. Go ahead and get your mailbag questions in before we head on out. Mailbag, any questions, regular questions, questions that aren't from a mailbag. Now we do have the mailbag section in the Discord, man. Come on now. As I said, I turned my notifications back on. That was the issue. That's why I was never around the Discord, because I didn't know I was getting messages, and then I have to rely on myself to check them. And I'm not great at checking messages. You can ask people that know me. I'm not. If I don't get a notification for a message, I'm not opening that. Chip Bradshaw says, hit the likes, fams. Yes, Detroit fan man, we do have a Discord server. If you are not in it, I can post it in there now. Just give me a second. Let me open it. Let's see here. I have to make a new link because they only last for so long. All right. All right, I'll get your question in just a second. Let me post this link. There we go. That's the Discord link. So go ahead, join the server. Say what up, though. Just a fan says, mailbag, what will the Lions' defensive philosophy be and how good will they be? I think their defensive philosophy is you're going to see a lot more linebacker featuring. Now, what I don't want to see, I know they're going to have a rush backer, and that's going to be Derek Barnes. However, I don't really want to see that too much. That's just my opinion. I'd like to be able to line up and get pressure with the front four. And that way we can leave linebackers in coverage, or we can, have them fill the gaps and play the run. But I think we're going to see a lot more from our linebackers. I do think that we're still going to see the man coverage and everything like this. But, Coach Shep is going to have his own little flavor. So I can't really say exactly what the philosophy is going to be. I do think that barring the injuries, that this defense will be very good once again. We do need the pressure up front. If we can get the pressure up front, then our secondary will be better. We've got dogs in the secondary. Not everyone is a fan of Terrion Arnold, but like I've said, Terrion Arnold is a second-year player. He's going into his second year. His first year, he had decent numbers. He was asked to play man coverage more than any cornerback in the league. And I don't care if you were a rookie or a 10-year vet. Terrion Arnold played more man coverage snaps than you did. That's just the facts. So I think he kind of got baptized by fire, and I think he'll be much better this season. He's just got to get his head around. That's all. And then he'll start getting PBUs and interceptions. TaylorMade says LBs will attack. Yeah. I say if Lions stay healthy, no need to adjust. So that if, again, and I'm not going to get into it, I always do. That if they stay healthy hinges on Marcus Davenport, which I will believe it when I see it, and I want to believe it. So that means I want to see it. Mailbag, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? A woodchuck could chuck. A woodchuck would chuck, and I don't know the part. A woodchuck would chuck 1 ton of wood if a woodchuck could chuck wood. How about that? We'll go with that one. A woodchuck would chuck. A woodchuck would chuck. I'm sorry. Here it goes. A woodchuck would chuck everything he could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. That's it? Davin hurt. No. Mr. Glass part 2. I think that's the answer. A woodchuck would chuck everything he could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. I got it, TaylorMade. There we go. All right. I had to pull it out of the archive of first grade. Oh. If y'all wonder why I look this way, it's because I have 2 screens. So I have my chat in this screen. So the camera is here in front of me, but I got the chat in the screen because when I need to read something, I'm gonna have it in front of me instead of over here because of the settings that I have over here. Like all the text is much smaller, but the chat is fine. A woodchuck would chuck all the wood it could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood, but a woodchuck won't chuck any wood at all because a woodchuck can't chuck wood. See, that part I didn't remember. The last part. PSA grade 7 today. The recesses of your mind. DP. Yes. They are vast. They are vast. So yeah, if you guys have not joined the Discord server, and you want to join the Discord server, I pinned the message now, so you can join that one. And like I said, the situation is on. Like, if anybody sees Flying Hawaiian around anywhere, tell him to hit me up, man. Tell him to hit me up. He's gone rogue. He's gone off the grid. Anyway, guys, appreciate you once again for coming through, hanging out, stopping by. My guest that came through for a drink and conversation today was none other than the chat. So I appreciate you all. Once again, the Motor City Cats are back at it. We came to give you stats and not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your news, your Lions news, pragmatic. And we are out. Peace.